As far as the stem cells, I mean, we talked about it a little bit before. We want to keep it general, but what was that process like as far as time frame from, how your pain was when you went in, got the injection, and how it progressed?
Yeah, and I think for me to tell you that too, I kind of need to tell you the overall story. I looked into stem cells for 6 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
At the time when I first started looking into them, I was looking into them for somebody else, and then I got super curious. They were being done in, I think, Colombia, Panama, and then somewhere in the Caribbean. It was extremely expensive, like $15,000 to $30,000. But I know that there was UFC fighters and NFL players. And I actually listened to Mel Gibson on Joe Rogan's podcast. He had taken his dad down there and just ranted and raved about it. I didn't obviously have $30,000. So last year I happened to be at some kind of working lunch meeting and happened to be sitting next to this guy who is a retired F-117 pilot. We just start chit-chatting about what each other does. He tells me that he's working with this medical company that does stem cells. Well, I didn't think you could do that in the US. So I thought he was talking about PRP. And I said, yeah, I don't want PRP. I've had that. He's like, no, they're mesenchymal stem cells. And I was like, really? I said, where are you doing those at? He said, well, we're doing them in Houston right now. And I said, well, I don't have $30,000. And I think he said, no, they're like $6,000 or $6,500. And I was like, what? So that was a Thursday, and I was there Monday morning in Houston, ready to go because I already knew, there's just a lot of research. There are some controversial thoughts, but again, I think there's a risk with anything. So the risk to me was worth the reward. So in South America, they do a lot of the stem cell injections pinpoint. So if you have back pain, they'll inject them into your back. If you have knee pain, they inject them into your knee pain. When I went to this particular place, they just injected into your blood with the thought process being that your body is going to put them where you need them. I think you and I had talked yesterday that, from my understanding of the body, it's kind of this neuro highway, right? And sometimes you may have lower back pain, but the source of your pain for me, like, is my hip flexors. So I feel the pain in my back, but it's my hip flexors that are off that are actually pulling my spine out of alignment. So I opted, with hey man, just throw it in I think I got like 3 million mesenchymal stem cells. The company does a real good about screening where they're getting them from, et cetera, et cetera. And, the first day, I think I expected some kind of narcotic effect, like I just took this drug, like, let me feel it. And I didn't really feel anything. I went in the hyperbaric chamber for a couple days, and then I just stopped thinking about it, to be honest with you. And I remember waking up like 8 days later. I'm like, man, I haven't had back pain in like 8 or 9 days. And honestly, man, I just haven't had a lot of pain since then. So yeah, they're another fountain of youth type thing.
Yeah, stem cells. I know it gained a lot of traction on Joe Rogan's podcast when he talks to the UFC fighters. All of them go to South America and get this stuff done. Whether it be pre-fight, post-fight, whatever it is, to cure whatever ails them. And I don't know how often you can get it done, but it seems like it is the fountain of youth, and people are using it quite a bit. But you got to have the money, like you're saying. It can be costly.
Yeah, and for me, dude, I think I put it on a credit card. It was one of those things. I had done enough research to know what it was, and it wasn't attainable. And man, once it got within my grasp, I was ready. And again, man, I don't have a lot of money. Again, I put it on a credit card and ended up paying off later. But it's, we'll make all these purchases, buy boats and all these different things, and go on trips, but we won't take care of ourselves and our body. And I think, for me, I was like, my back pain was starting to sneak up on me a little bit. The trigger point therapy was helping, but man, I was just tired of it. It becomes this nagging thing. I have young kids and I'm older, and I want to be able to still hang with them. And that nagging back pain was keeping me from doing stuff. So for me, it was worth every penny for sure.